58% of South Africans speak English at home. Begs the question, do all home languages matter? Well, the Pendoring Awards, under the theme this year of English Never Loved Us, is celebrating the use of indigenous languages in branded content and advertising and other mediums as well. I'm joined now to talk some more about that by the spokesperson for the Pendoring Awards, Anele Nzimande, who tells us more. Anele, thank you so much for joining us this morning, coming to us live via Skype from Johannesburg. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. In my head, whenever I've heard about the Pendoring Awards, I've always thought, oh, it's those Afrikaans awards. Is that still the perception that you guys are battling?
It is, but I can assure you that it's definitely not just an Afrikaans award program. Afrikaans is one of the languages that we celebrate and award amongst the 9 indigenous languages in the country.
Now, your theme this year is quite catchy. English Never Loved Us. It's something we hear people throw out on social media every now and again when somebody has perhaps run out of their container of English for that moment. Why did you decide to go with that theme?
So it was conceptualized by a team at TBWA Huntless Scars. This is a team that won the 2019 prestigious Umpeta Award last year, which is the overall winner at the Pendoring. And so we always invite the prestigious Umpeta to help us conceptualize a campaign for the following year, which they accepted. And we were quite excited to launch the campaign because it pokes fun at something that we're also familiar with. You know, you've had those moments where you run out of your English data bundles, so to speak. And so you switch back to your mother tongue as comfort and as a form of defense. And often you can't always do that, especially in a boardroom situation or in a situation like this. So, yeah, we said, you know, English never loved us, actually. No matter how much you love the language back, sometimes you have those moments where it just leaves you when you need it the most.
In the process of your work, are you finding that people are loosening up about the pure or the pureness of what people deem to be a pure Afrikaans or savoured Afrikaans or academic Xhosa and that kind of thing? Is the advertising industry, are the more formal parts of South Africa opening up to the fact that our languages are living organisms and they live with how people eat, breathe and speak their languages?
Absolutely, Marcel. So for our entry guidelines, for example, we accept entries that are a mixture of different languages. So we understand, especially when you live in Joburg. I'm a KZN girl, so there's a lot more purity there, I guess, when it comes to the language. But when you come to Joburg, there's a cultural and eclectic mix of languages, and often you find that people are speaking a mixture of Afrikaans. A lot of the words in my language, in fact, like ifastela, comes from the Afrikaans word venster. So that falls under a category that's called amagama abolegiwe, which is borrowed words from other languages. So I think the idea that languages are so pure and there isn't this conversation happening amongst the languages themselves is a false perception. It's always been false. And I do think that the people in advertising are embracing the fact that actually you can have, you know, if you want to quantify 70% of a local languages with mixture of English here and there and a mixture of some Afrikaans words. And I think that's really, really exciting. And it shows that not only do all languages matter, but they all work together so that we can understand each other. So it's something we should embrace.
Now, the Pendoring Awards have said you've been very encouraged by the fact that you've seen a 20% increase in entries from the Zulu language. That's very encouraging. So diversity you're starting to see come through in terms of your entries. But is that also reflected in your judging process?
Yes, it is. So we're fortunate to have support from the advertising industry, and we are able to get the time of people who are not only schooled and experienced in creativity, but who also celebrate and understand the importance of making work in indigenous languages. So the people we get on our adjudication panels are first language speakers of that particular language. So it's across, I know earlier I said 9 indigenous languages. It's actually across the 10 indigenous languages of the country. So entrants can rest assured that the work that's being reviewed is work that is people who speak who speak the language as a first language, understand the work. They don't need it to be explained to them. They understand the nuances. So that's something that entrants can rest assured.
Sounds like fascinating work that you and your team are up to there. Thank you so much for sharing some of that with us. The spokesperson for the Pendoring Awards, Anele Nzimande, joining us live there via Skype, telling us about some key dates that are coming up in this year's awards and the fact that they've been endorsed now by the by UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization.